Welcome to the Maine Basketball Rankings Podcast. I am your host, basketball data nerd Lucas McNally, and today we are talking about baseball and softball with WHOU's Ethan Snow. Really only see Ethan during basketball season. It's kind of like we sit apart from each other on opposite sides of the expo, and we just stare at each other all week and then talk in between games sometimes. But he does a lot of baseball, he does a lot of softball down in southern Maine, and so he is the guy to talk to. He's the voice of WHOU down there. And it's a lot of OOB. And I'm always looking to get to the bottom of the OOB question of when does skee ball open? When do the pier fries open? And when is the ocean too cold to jump in? And when is it warm up enough that we can go for a swim? So we're going to get into some of that, and then we're also going to get into the proximity of skee ball to a game, if that impacts your broadcast decisions. And, we're going to go through the 4 different classes in baseball, softball, and see who the contenders are and how the last week plus 2 weeks, what do we got, 2 weeks, might shake out before the tournament. So yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever it is that you're watching, listening to this. Spread the word because it really does help. And without further ado, let's go to my conversation with Ethan Snow. My guest today is the voice of Southern Maine for WHOU.live. Ethan Snow is here. How's it going?
Fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, the weather's turning. It's less terrible outside, so there's that. It rained all day today, but other than that, it's been great.
Yeah, I know people are going to keep saying we need the rain, but I'm going to allude to something I said a couple of weeks ago. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Let's dry it up a little bit. I'm ready for we've already had a little bit of taste of summer. Let's get some more of that. I'm tired of the cool and rainy weather.
If people need more moisture, they can come to my basement and there's plenty. So there's lots of moisture in my basement. They're welcome to it. We got a sump pump running every 20 minutes. It's going off. So if you do need more, I got you covered. And there's a swamp behind my house that's got plenty of water in it. So please come take some and take some of the mosquitoes with you.
You heard them, folks. Go grab your water while you can. I know swimming pool season's coming right up.
Man, the water is really high. I went for a walk earlier saying the water's still pretty high around. So, Ethan, you were a guest, I think, number 1 on this podcast, or maybe number 2. We'll say number 1, because why not? And now we are over 100. I think this is like 10. Oh, let me look. Because you know me, I like to be detailed. 103.
All right.
So, how do you feel about that?
I believe this is my 3rd appearance as well, because I came on back in October as well to talk some high school football. But
Yep.
Hey, it's great to be a part of something that's growing, right?
I think you were the season before. I think this might be your 4th.
Third or fourth, one of the two. But it's been it's been a handful of times. I always love coming on and chatting. Obviously, you and I have a running joke going that we only see each other in person in February. So
Yep.
to kind of break up the year long virtually is, I can never complain about that.
Well, I thought I might run into you because I went to this Chevrolet game the other day, and I was like, well, maybe Ethan will be there, but you were in OOB, eating pier fries, playing skee ball, watching some softball, doing your job.
Yeah, Rob Kennedy came down and did those 2 games with me. So yeah, we had a great time down there. The games themselves weren't fantastic, but no, they had a split. Hannah Weber got her 200th strikeout, which was
Yep.
always really fun to see when somebody reaches a milestone like that. We could be there for it. And as always, I always gotta give the fine folks at Old Orchard Beach their flowers because they're fantastic. And I did talk to AD, athletic director Dean Plant down there between games. I asked him because Old Orchard softball's up to 8 wins. They've pushed a 500 record, and he was telling me that this is their best going back to 19. This is their best season since 96, 97. So it's been about 30 years. And if Dean Plant says that, I 100% take his word for it, considering he's a he's been involved in Old Orchard Beach athletics in some shape or form since he was before he was in high school. So
I think
if he
since
says it, I think it's true.
I think wasn't even a beach when he started. It was
No, I
just an
don't think so.
orchard.
I think the orchard was still there.
It was a new orchard. They had just planted the trees. It wasn't even an old orchard. It was just a new orchard. There wasn't even a beach, and he was there doing stuff. He and my mother probably, who's about the same age, and grew up in Old Orchard Beach. So, like, you do a lot of OOB games. Is that just a fluke? Like, what's because there's a lot of people down in
So
Southern Maine.
yeah, so a lot of people, and I get asked this often when I'm at
Is it the
games,
mini
and
golf? Is you got to play some Pirates Cove mini golf after?
it's a little bit of mini golf. I also Fielder's Choice is also like is within walking
Mm,
distance of the complex, and I love my ice cream. So I really, that's all. So to be able to call a game and then swing right into Fielder's Choice on my way out is convenient, and
yeah.
it's a good way to get my ice cream fixed. But no, really, in reality, it's Old Orchard was one of the first of the was the first was one out of the three schools that welcomed WHOU when we started doing regular season games in the winter of 2022, and they've since day one they have been fantastic. I mean, everybody they've all three of them, Deering, Chevrolet, Old Orchard, they've all been really welcoming. They've been fantastic, and so that's it's always nice to stick with the original three
Hmm.
that we started out with, and as long as they're happy and the fans and subscribers are happy, we're happy, and I'm always happy to go down there. And even though we have been starting to branch out a little bit, Rob and I actually just did our first WHOU broadcast from Gorham High School last Monday.
Oh.
We did Gorham and Wyndham softball, which the final score doesn't indicate how good that game actually was. It was 10-6 Gorham won, but they put up 8 runs in the bottom of the sixth to rally from down two. So it was really good game. And again, they they were fantastic to work with, and sounds like they're sounds like we'll be going back there in the future. So that'll be, and then we did the same thing in South Portland this past winter. We did the regular season finale for basketball at South Portland this past February. So
Hmm.
we're starting to branch out a little bit, and it's nice to see to get to some new facilities because I mean you've seen quite a few facilities down here.
Yeah.
They're all fantastic, and so it's nice to branch out, but at the same time it's hard to it's hard to leave the original three. And
There's something to be said for I've been there before. I know where everything is. I know that my internet connection is going to work. I know where the parking is. I know the athletic director is not going to hassle me. I know that if I need this, I can get it. If I need that, I can get it. And people like, I've seen before, Eastern Maine Sports, Mark gets grief for doing so many Dexter games. It's like, well, he lives right there for one.
yeah,
So that's part of
yeah,
it. It's just like, hey, this is if there's so many games, and you're like, well, the one near me looks interesting, so that's I could not get home at midnight. That's fun. But people, I think, underestimate the familiarity factor and the just how much it helps that if people are nice to you.
yeah, and actually, absolutely, you touched on it perfectly. That's another big reason right there is just the familiarity aspect of it, especially when you're in my shoes, because especially during the springtime, I'm a one man show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing up, I'm setting things up, I'm producing, I'm doing the play by play, and for lacrosse, I'm also doing camera at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of things that are on my plate all at once, and the biggest thing is just knowing that my internet connection is not going to fail me
Yeah.
is a big aspect of it right there, and like my power's not going to fail me, or the things that you're used to how things operate at these certain places. It's one less thing you have to worry about, and
Mm-hmm.
that's another big reason why not only are they accommodating and friendly and all that, but I know when I show up, things are going to go the way I don't have to show up and worry that my internet connection is not going to be what it needs to be, especially in the springtime. That when we're, there's no with the exception of showing up to Deering for lacrosse in the springtime, I'm using a wireless internet box
Right.
that Fred has provided me, myself and other crews around the state. And depending on where you go, like I haven't tested that out everywhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you go, it runs on cell signal. Like and I get, signal is getting better and better every, especially down in this way, but there's still some places where, geez, I don't know if this is going to work here
Yeah.
to a standard that we like to have.
If you go
So
to
that's a
Erskine, the
middle.
cell reception's terrible.
Yeah, and I you I think it was must have been about I think it was 2 years ago because I was still living in Gorham at this point. I remember you put out an SOS for Erskine because they were looking for somebody to stream a prelim game, and I was just
Uh-huh.
like, oh, that's interesting, but oh, that game is tonight. I'm not driving from Gorham
China.
to China to find out that I got no internet and we're
Uh-huh.
going to be useless. So it
Yeah,
was
I
one
don't
of
know
those
how
things.
well
It
their
was
their hardline internet is in the gym. I just know the there's no Wi-Fi in the gym, that the public Wi-Fi at least, and there's no cell reception at all in there. And so, like, if you're gonna do what I'm gonna do, which is stand on the sidelines and shoot some video and like post buzzer beaters or whatever, and or even if I'm doing live stats, like that's not enough cell reception for live stats. So you're just like, well, it would be nice to go to the game at Erskine, but I'm not gonna, because I could just go to the game at Lincoln Academy where my phone works.
yeah, and like yeah, that's a prime example right there. But so that's a lot of people ask me like how a lot of people will parents and other people from opposing teams that we go to will ask me just like so like why I tell them the three schools that I usually do, and they're just why those three, and I
They
told them it's
asked.
just like, well, yeah, they asked, or we asked, and they said yes, and they still say yes,
Yep.
like they haven't said no. Um, and also, it's just I know things are going to work here. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
been here, they work. Like Old Orchard when we first started doing games at Old Orchard, like I had to go down there and run an Ethernet line in the gym,
Ooh.
which is a which was a I had to go down there run an Ethernet line in the gym, and I had to do a similar thing at Deering in their gym. And then Shovers. We asked for a line, they gave us one, and it's still there, and it still works out for us. But so the funny story, I don't know if I told you this story or not, but funny story. When I went down to Old Orchard and did it, it was early January 2023. And again,
Okay.
this is the first winter. This is the first winter we were doing regular season games down here. And so I went down there. I think it was the first weekend of the new year. It was like the day after the new year or something like that. It was like January 2nd or 3rd. It wasn't very far into January. I went down there just kind of assess like, okay, do I got to run a cable from somewhere in the hallway? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was an Ethernet already run for their huddle camera
Sure.
that they have in there, but there was another one that was just kind of hanging from wherever it entered in the gym, was just hanging there. And I'm looking at this, so I'm just kind of looking around, thinking I see that. I'm like, give me a ladder, give me a ladder. So I climbed up. So they got me. So brought a ladder in there. Climb up the ladder. I have my power cord. At this point we're using Boxcast for
Okay.
everything. Like my kit is like you've kind of seen the setup that I run now.
Yeah, at the
Like that's
expo.
what I have now. Yeah, what I have now is like double of what I used to have.
Sure.
Like it was a very bare bones type of setup, and Boxcast is what we used. And so we got Boxcast. So I plugged the Boxcast into power. I plugged that Ethernet cable into it. Sure enough, it works. I'm like, all right, fantastic.
Wow. Bonus Ethernet
I
cable.
just, yeah. So I'm just like, fantastic, it works. So now, how do I run this to the middle of the gym for a good broadcasting spot? So so Fred and I talked about it. We ordered up some Ethernet couplers, like 125 feet of cable,
Mm-hmm.
and we ran, and I ended up, and then the following Saturday, I went there, like, and meanwhile, through all of this, Dean's just like, yep, whatever, do whatever you got to
Do
do,
what you got to
whatever,
do. Yeah.
yeah, do what you got to do, mi casa tu casa, stuff like that. And so I get all the stuff, and I text him a couple days later, just like, hey, I'm ready to do this. When's a good time to come on? He's just like, come in between this time and this time on Saturday. Fantastic. And so I show up at whatever time it is on a Saturday morning, 9:30. It's pretty early. And I get there, just like, hey, welcome. What I didn't know was he was about to start it. He was about to start his practice because this was his state championship year with girls basketball.
Okay, yeah.
This was his state championship year with girls basketball, and I get there. He's about to start practice. I'm like, I, first I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were on practice. I was just like, no, don't worry about it. Come in, do whatever you got to do. So meanwhile, while he's running his practice, I'm running this Ethernet cable through the gym, and it all worked out. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, moral of the story is super laid back at Old Orchard. Just give you an idea of just how they do things at Old Orchard Beach, because that's like that was like a thing. I was just like, oh crap, like I don't want to feel like I'm interrupting his practice, but
Yeah. But that's
to
probably
him I
why he
wasn't at
gave you
all.
that time. He probably gave you that time because he's
Yeah,
like, well, I'm already going to be in the gym doing
yeah,
practice, so I don't want to come back. I'm already going to
yeah,
be here
but
from here to here, so just do it
yeah,
then.
but it worked out, and I've been using that same Ethernet line ever since. So it's worked out, and yeah, Old Orchard's a fantastic place to go, and Cheverus and Deering continue to be fantastic hosts as well. And I'm really excited about Cheverus. I don't know when you were there on Saturday if you got to look down the hill and see what they've done with Bullough Stadium, but they're almost done with their
I
renovations.
didn't, but someone told me about it. Someone told me about, I forget why. They're like, oh yeah, when the turf gets put in, and I'm like, what turf? But I guess they're putting in a turf for the football field.
Yep, they're doing turf. They're building a press box there.
Ooh,
And they put down a new track service. They didn't make the track wider. They just put a new track service on it. So
okay.
it'll be all artificial turf. And the only spring and fall sport that needed that field that wasn't down there to begin with was field hockey. They
Hmm.
field hockey played from like the of course it looked you saw like the top of the hill in baseball softball mode.
Hmm.
It looks a little bit different in the fall. Like they play field hockey like diagonally
Oh, okay.
across, like they take out the fences, the foul poles, all that, and they kind of set the field diagonally
Kind of like in the
across there.
90s when they would play
Yeah,
football games at multi-use stadiums.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
oh, he's
kind
at
of like
third
that. Yeah,
base.
kind of like that. That's how they played field hockey, and then their JV soccer games as well up there. And but field hockey moved down there. Talking to Amy, last time I talked to her, she said that it should be done in about a month.
Wow.
I haven't been over there in a week or I haven't been over there in a couple weeks, but they were last time I was over there, they were getting ready to get the turf in and getting ready to put it down. So
I could see the pylons or the goalposts from not the pylons. What an idiot I am. The goalposts, I could see those uh from the softball field. So I don't know if
all
that
right,
they
so
needed to come down in order to do that or not.
yeah, they did. Yeah,
Oh,
those weren't up the last time I was there, so they've
well there you go.
made
At
some
least
sort of
one of them was up.
progress. Yeah, all right. Well, they've made some progress then.
Hey, all right. So what's a school down there where you want to go, and not that they have been like, no, screw you, you're not allowed here, but what's like one where you're like, well, for whatever innocent reason, you haven't done a game there.
Oh
And
man,
I'll try to think of one up here or a place where I haven't been and done a game, but
yeah,
that might be trickier.
man. I've been because I also take into consideration the places I've been for MPA events. Like I've been to Falmouth for field hockey. I've been
Hmm.
to there's been a couple other places I've been to. Oh, Biddeford. I've been to Waterhouse for soccer a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
But the one place I haven't been to that I would like to get to is probably Scarborough High School.
Okay.
They have a turf field there. Their baseball and softball fields are really nice, and also helps. I live right down the road from there now,
That's
so
always nice.
yeah, that's always a plus when it's local. So yeah, Scarborough wouldn't be a bad. I think would be a really nice spot to try to get to.
I'm trying to think of something near here, and I think I've been to most of the places that are within like a 45-minute drive of here. I haven't been to Brunswick's baseball field or anything like that, but I've been to their basketball court a bunch of times. And I went to Freeport this year. Yeah, I've been floating around. What I really want to go is up north and get up to some of those like Easton's gym and like Caribou's gym and places like that, and like do a mini tour of the county.
Yeah, I'd like to get up there as well. I know Rob Kennedy has made a couple of trips up to the county during the winter times to try to
Hmm.
call some games up there. I've never called the game up there, and I think that would be something I'd look at. I'd have to reach out to either Isaac or Steve about doing that, but
Well, you'd
I'd
have
like
to
to get
fight
up there
Steve
and.
for it because Steve has dibs. Steve's got dibs on everything there. You've got it's like a mob thing, where you're like, "Oh, you want to come into my turf? You want to sell in my area?" It'd be like that. So you'd have to really that's who you got to work it out with first and
Yeah.
foremost, and then the schools will just fall into line. If Steve says you're good, the schools will roll out the red carpet, but don't cross Steve whatever you do up there.
No, absolutely not. Everything would go through him first. Like he'd be the first one I'd talk to. Be like, hey, not trying to intrude. I'm just trying to help out.
Yeah, you could maybe do a 3-man booth with him, maybe that's like a requirement. He needs like a little taste. He needs to get his beak wet on whatever the broadcast you do, and maybe he needs to be part of the crew. Maybe you get an introduction. You could use your sideline reporting skills, and that's how you get an in. That's how you get an in.
That very well could be. Yeah, try it out. Try some. Use as a proving ground. Hey, what do we want to try and do for the tournament? Let's go to the county and test it out.
Test it out up in the county. They won't notice up
Test it
there.
up for the county. They won't notice a bit.
They won't be rabidly watching it, no matter what you do, and have lots of opinions instantly. No, it'll be super chill. All right, so let's talk softball and baseball because you've been doing that a lot, covering that a lot down in Southern Maine, and this is like probably the first year I've really covered it, and so I have no idea what's going on yet. I've just got like a sense. My first question for you is: can anyone beat Chevrolet?
Well, through the first 13 games of the season,
No,
hard no. Like they've been,
they've
like
mercied 8 in a row, I think.
yeah, like they've been like the past couple of years, it's been a dogfight between them and Wyndham,
Hmm.
obviously, right? Like
Right.
they like 24 when they won it all. They only played them once. They lost the regular season. They beat them in the regional final in that I think 10 or 11 inning marathon, whatever it was. It was
Hmm.
an insane game. And then last year they played twice the regular season, beat them twice, losing the regional final. Now Wyndham's kind of taken a couple of steps back this year,
Yeah,
and
Wyndham doesn't look like they're
like
a contender.
right now they sit 8-4, seventh place. So right now they're in a home prelim spot, which is a spot that program is not used to being in the past couple seasons.
Right.
But even the teams up near the top that have kind of been surprising, like Gorham 10-2, Bonnie Eagle 10-2,
Hmm.
and Westbrook 10-2. That's second, third, and fourth right now. Like Chevrolet, we did Gorham and Chevrolet. Rob and I did Gorham and Chevrolet a couple weeks ago. Gorham is probably out of the times I've seen Chevrolet. Gorham made Chevrolet look the most was the team that made him look mortal from
Okay.
what I've seen. Like they at the going into that Gorham game, Chevrolet only allowed one run total. DeRoche had only walked one. She'd only given up one hit, and in that game, she gave up another run. I think she gave up two hits,
Oh my
and I think she
gosh.
walked. And I think she walked two, something like that. Like, still, but she still struck out. But she still struck out. I think that was the game she struck out 20 out of 21. So, like,
Yeah.
did Chevrolet look a little more mortal? Yes. Did DeRoche still look like the best pitcher the state has seen? Also, yes.
Uh-huh.
So,
I
like,
saw her for the first time Saturday. I was like, geez, yeah, people weren't kidding about this one. You
and I
know?
haven't seen him. And I haven't seen him since that Gorham game, which is on back on the 11th. Yeah, 6-1 was the final. But then again, looking through 13-0 over Kennebunk, they shut out Wyndham again. They beat Massapequa big, Noble big, Deering Portland big. Stanford scored a run on them, but then you just saw they um, shut out
Marshwood.
what was Marshwood, Berwick, and Trape that
Oh, geez,
co-op.
yeah. Which was an interesting
Um,
game because they, at 3 different points, had the bases loaded with no outs. And I think 4 times Marshwood got the out at the plate, with the bases loaded with nobody outs and nobody out. And like I think in one of those innings they didn't score. So like that easily could have been, it was 10-0, and that easily could have been like 16, 17 to nothing if they get a single in one of those situations and whatever. And then DeRoche got hit in the head on her first at bat, and then managed to just didn't seem to bother her much. She struck out the next 7 batters, homered her next at bat,
Yep, that sounds about right.
But she's pumping that in there, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't think I could even touch that with a bat.
Yeah, her not only, and that's what Rob and I have talked about a bunch in the couple of games that him and I have done over there together. Like her ability to not only locate her pitches the way that she does, but
Mm-hmm.
also to change up her velocity in the way that she does. There's no one like I don't know what you saw in that game in the game that you saw, but in the games that I've seen, teams are going up there. They're not intimidated. They're going up there. They're swinging the bat.
Oh, they
They're
were
swinging
trying,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, they're up there swinging. Like they're not going up there scared. It's just that's the kind of pitcher that DeRoche is. Is that she's able to her pitch her ability to locate her pitches where they are and to change up the velocity. Like you'll see teams be I've seen batters be way out in front
Mm-hmm.
way out in front expecting a fastball when she gives them a changeup and vice versa. Just her abilities is just you can't. There's nothing like obviously there's nothing that hasn't already been said about her ability. It's
Right.
just it's phenomenal. Just and she's gotten better. Like she was fantastic her freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Here she is as a junior, and she's gotten so much better.
Yeah.
Florida State is getting a very good talent.
Yeah, I mean Marshwood did foul off some pitches to left field. Not very hard, but they did get out ahead of a couple of them, and they got a 2-out single in the first where the ball just barely landed fair, like probably, I don't know, 5 feet into the outfield. And you've never seen someone so excited to get a bloop single in the first inning of a regular season game. They were hyped. They're like, oh, we got her now. And no, not so much.
I think if for anybody to get a hit off of her is an accomplishment in itself. I know I couldn't do it.
That's where you call
So
for the ball.
props for anybody that can because I sure as heck couldn't.
Yeah, you're just like, I need the ball for that one. It's like, we only really do like home runs. Like, no, I'm going to need that one.
Nah, yeah, I'd like. Can we get that one over here, please?
Yeah, so the teams in the north that could face them, I'm just looking at the rankings here. Lewiston, Oxford Hills are like 2-3 in A in the rankings, and they're not going to play either one of them, are they? I don't think so.
No, they
No.
the only way they'd see either of them would be in the state final. And Oxford Hills is the team that Chevers did beat in the 2024 state title game.
Okay.
That was the game where DeRoche struck out did give up a few hits and a run, but all of her outs were via strikeout. She struck out all 21. She struck out 21 batters.
In a in a state game.
Despite yeah, struck out 21 batters in the state game,
Oh my god.
and they won 3-1. And I will give Oxford Hills credit. They had the tying run in scoring position in the seventh inning. So
Hmm.
they Oxford Hills was the biggest challenge for that Shepherds team that year.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this again. I think look now again. I haven't followed A North a ton, but
Right.
seeing Lewiston up there is surprising. I feel like Lewiston anything, with the exception of boys soccer, seeing them near the top of any sort of standings is always a surprise.
They
And
did
that's
beat
not a
Oxford
knock.
Hills 2-0 the other day.
That's a big point. That's a big win for them right there. Was that their only meeting this year?
No, they've
Or did they play
split.
them again?
It was a
They
five
did split.
nothing on the 11th and 2-0 on the 20th, with Lewiston winning on the 20th.
All right.
And then
Yeah, so
Oxford
that
Hills
would
just
be
dropped one to Skowhegan.
so if those two teams end up meeting. I mean, the way they sit right now would be a hypothetical regional final. But
Right.
if those two teams do meet in the postseason, that's going to be one heck of a ball game by the sounds of it. But you can't count out Edward Little, who won the region last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Skowhegan sitting 10-3.
Mm-hmm.
So like those seems like A North is a 4-horse race right now, and of course when you have a teams that are so close together like that, and that's the great thing about Maine high school playoffs, right? In baseball and softball, it's one game.
Right.
You get if you if one team shows up to play one day and they get on a run, and I feel like that's been a trend in Class A North the past few years, or at least a handful of years, is that you'll see a team get hot, whether there be the seventh, like a lower seed team will get hot and make a run to the state final. I remember Mesalonsky did it a couple in 2022. Edward Little just did it last year as a 7 seed. They were the 7 seed and went all the way to the state final. So if there's any region in any sport where literally anybody could have the ability to make a deep run, it would be Class A North softball.
Well, it's a little bit like hockey in a sense that if you get a pitcher who gets hot, or if you get a goalie who can stand on their head for a little bit, they can win some playoff games because anything can happen in a low scoring playoff game. I mean, you get an error, you get whatever, a bloop, that bloop single that just barely falls fair, and or it falls foul. Who knows? You know, someone rolls their ankle coming out of the batter's box. It's one game. It's one game. That's
Yeah,
especially in baseball. Baseball more than softball, it feels like, but softball too. You know, you get that one game, and then all of a sudden you're gone. All right, you want to move to B? Let's just move through and go to B. Let's do
sounds
it.
great.
All right. So who have you seen in B that's good? All this. I'm just looking. I'm scrolling here through it. York is kind of the only team near you at the top of the standings. They're 9-1. They're kind of hovering down there. Um, for some reason, they've played fewer games than everybody else. I think they're nine and
Probably
one.
probably rainouts. There's been a lot of teams that have had to deal with rain. I mean, it's been all over the state, but down here
Right.
there seems to be a lot. But York from York did play Old Orchard on Friday. Now that was in York, not in Old Orchard. But
Mm-hmm.
from what I heard, talking to Weber and a couple other people down there, is that York is certainly should be in the B South conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They got they have a really good lineup. Not the only the only player I know by name on that team, Maya Avery. Like she's obviously a really big talent for that team, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember her name, but they got somebody else who's a really good pitcher. So York certainly should be in the conversation, or at least should not be slept on in B South. I know I'm looking at this right now. Madomic sitting at the top of B South right now. This
Orso is the other
Levitt,
pitcher, I think.
yes, that sounds right. And then I'm looking at Levitt. Has picked up a few big wins this season.
Levitt's
So I think
weird.
yeah, Levitt. They're 8-5, sitting number two right now.
Yeah,
Like
I've
Levitt's going
got
to
him
be a
two in the
team to
rankings too.
yeah, Levitt's a team you got to be. Levitt's shaping up to be. Let's just. I don't. If I was a coach, I would not. I would not want to see Levitt first round.
I saw Levitt. I saw the first Madomic Levitt game, which was 3-0, I believe, was the final on that, and it was 1-0 into the sixth when Madomic hit a 2-run homer. But it was also the wind was blowing in, and this poor right fielder for Levitt, like Madomic kept hitting fly balls to right field, and the wind was just doing whatever it wanted with him. And this poor girl, it's like it's half shade, half sun, you know, and like the ball's moving around, and she's just out there just praying that she can track this ball and come down with him. And she made every single play, but there were 5 or 6 of them. We were like, oh boy, I think she's lost this one. And then she would recover and find it.
Yeah, as a former right fielder myself, the wind can be your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy. And
See, I was a
sometimes it can
first
happen.
baseman, so I had no idea. I'm like, why is this so hard? And then I played like adult softball years ago, and they threw me in the outfield for a game, and I was like, oh no, this is not a good idea. I have no idea what's going on out here. Why is this so difficult? But yeah, Levitt's good. Herman is kind of floating. They're at 10-1. They are beating a lot of people. They were in the regional final they were in the state championship game last year. Um, Poland is very up and down at 9-5. Gardner is 9-2. They beat Madomic in a 17-16 game, which was a wild one. Where
You like runs? That was the game for you.
yeah, that was a fun one because I was watching Rob Munzing's feed, and Sydney Nichols left early in the first inning with she couldn't find the plate, and so it was a combination of I think she was hurt and couldn't find the plate, and also the strike zone was like a Greg Maddux strike zone, where it's like only he could throw strikes. I heard multiple complaints about this strike zone from both teams later. It was like the tiniest strike zone, which is part of the reason it was 17-16. And you could just hear Rob Munzing like in the sixth inning. I'm listening to it. And he's like, we all thought this might be a close game, but I don't think anyone had the score. And this poor guy's doing the game by himself. It's he's just trying to keep up.
Yeah, I've been in his shoes before, and it's not the most fun position to be in, especially when you're by yourself. And
Yeah.
so I could attest to that myself.
He probably thought he's getting like a 3-0, 3-1 game, something like that. And he's like, okay, I can handle this. And all of a sudden 17-16, he's like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah, well, usually when you get two good teams like that, and of course in softball, you get two teams and two really good pitchers. It usually goes by quick.
Right.
That's why more often than not, you'll have a state championship softball game that'll be done within an hour and 10 minutes, is
Mm-hmm.
because you got two really good pitchers just going at it. And more often than not, it'll be pretty low scoring. And then you get a game like that where it's 17-16 and it feels like you're there half the night.
Or there was that like Madawaska Central Aroostook game was like 34-25 the other day, something like that. And then someone was like, why didn't they do the mercy rule? I'm like, because the losing team scored 25 runs. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like they can make up this difference pretty quickly here.
yeah. It scoring differential of what? It's 10 after five and then 15 after three. If you stay within those parameters, you can score as many runs as you want.
Yeah, I mean, there was a game up here the other day where Lincoln Academy scored 9 runs in one inning to like they would have been mercy ruled, but they scored 9 runs to make up the difference and nearly won the game. I feel like I don't know. I'm not a fan of mercy rules personally. I think they're for parents who are cold on the sidelines. That's
I
my
remember
that's my
you.
hot take on that.
If it's not, I think you alluded it to a newsletter earlier this spring
I might
that
have. Yeah.
if the weather is nice, let's waive the mercy rules.
Yeah, let's just keep playing.
If it's not so nice, yeah, let's get out
Yeah.
of here. And
If we got chairs, like, we're having a good time.
yeah, like if it's a 65, 70 degree day out, like I don't mind at all. Like
Yeah, play
this is beautiful.
seven innings. Yeah.
Yeah, play
What else are
seven.
we gonna do? You gotta go home mow the lawn. Who wants to do that? Bring some beverages. Some family friendly beverages and hang out with your neighbors and yell at their umps. What more do you need? All right, let's roll to C. So C, you've seen more of these teams. Old Orchard Beach. Where are they? 8-5. Is that right?
Yep, 8-5 with that split over Mount View. Yeah, Mount View.
Mount View.
Oh, real quick, quick side note on Mount View.
Okay.
I don't know if you're gonna find. I mean, maybe some of the D South teams or maybe some of the D teams
Mm-hmm.
you might rival, but like A to C, I don't know if you're gonna find a team that has done as much traveling for road games as Mount View has. Because
Oh, really?
when I was doing my prep for that game, hang on a second,
Let
let
me
me go
bring
to
them up.
C. Yeah, let's bring it up real quick. They opened the season with a
Oh,
doubleheader
jeez. I'm seeing it
in
now.
East Machias at Washington Academy.
Jeez. This is why
And
they're
then,
playing
of
double
course,
headers.
yeah, and then they play, of course, they're North Sea, so they play Waterville, local game, MCI, fairly local.
Uh-huh.
But like Orono, your C North opponents, MCI, Orono, Bucksport, Waterville. They did play Marana Cook in another C South opponent, Marana Cook. That's not a terrible drive.
Mm-hmm.
But and then they made the trip down to Old Orchard Beach this past Saturday. So like
Jeez.
that's just those two trips alone. That jacks your mileage up as a team. So I don't from Class A to Class C, Mountain View is going to be up there as far as miles traveled for road
Yeah.
games this year.
Yeah. I want to know what the mileage is for the Washington Academy volleyball team, because I don't imagine there's any volleyball teams near them. I think, aren't they pretty much the only one up there?
So you got Narraguegas,
Yeah.
Callis.
Okay.
I think Woodland has volleyball now, so there
But
is
they're trying to
schools that
play up
have it.
too because they're like
Right,
dominating
right,
everybody.
right. They play like they've moved up to B. I think I saw they made a trip down to Gorham last
Yeah.
fall, and
Mm-hmm.
they made a trip to. I think they also made a trip down to Yarmouth last fall.
Mm-hmm.
So like their team is not a much. Hey, props to them. Like I hats off to them for wanting to try to play up, and play tougher competition, and not being afraid to travel to do it. Like
Yeah.
hats off to them.
Yeah. I mean, Madawaska came down for the South Portland tip-off tournament this past season, and that's what is that like 6 hours, something like that, 5 hours?
At
It's got to
least
be
six,
something like
five and a
that.
half, six. You throw in what I assume they threw in a stop or two along the way.
You
Like
would think so, yeah.
in like I remember, I think I mentioned on the podcast before, but my senior year when we made the trip up to Fort Kent for the back before they moved regional soccer finals on the neutral fields, the higher seed hosted those. We
Oh,
had to make a trip. We had to make the trip up to Fort Kent for the C North final, and we stopped twice on the way up to do that.
and you're already halfway there. It's not like you were in
Yep,
Gorham. They're
we
starting from Old
stopped
Orchard
in.
Beach or York or something.
Well, we stopped. Well, yeah. This is my senior year, so we started from Blue Hill. We stopped in Lincoln, and we
Mm-hmm.
stopped in Holton,
Yeah.
and then we went from Holton up Route 11 to Fort Kent. And we left at like 6 in the morning. It was like 5:30, 6 in the morning for a game that was played at 1:30 because it was on a Thursday.
Oh my
And
God.
we played this game on a Thursday, and yeah, we went up there. Gosh, we went up there and lost 4-0. So it was a long road trip to not score. But I will. Fort Kent was a very talented team that year. So
I kind
that's
of want to go to Fort Kent this winter because they got Jeffers, but boy, that's far. I'm wondering if they'll come down to the South Portland tournament. That's because that's like Millington, Kevin Millington, the South Portland coach, tries to schedule like the top contenders from, which is why Madawaska was there last year and teams like that. And because it's an invitational thing. And I would imagine he would try to get Fort Kent in there.
absolutely. When you're a reigning state champ with most of your roster coming back, I would hope he would try to at least send an invite, be like, hey, if
Yeah.
you guys want to come to this, you're welcome. If not, we understand.
Yeah. I mean, he might be Mr. Basketball. So be an opportunity for the Southern Maine folks to see him.
Hopefully he does that. Hopefully they do get that invite, and hopefully they do accept, because that'd be an easy way for me to see that team again.
There you
Um,
go.
so that'd be fantastic.
I
I'd
haven't
love
seen
to see
Jeffers in
that.
person yet.
That's right, because you went to. That's right, you weren't. You didn't stick around for the C games at Augusta. You had to go to Portland. I remember
I
now.
I had to go to
Yep.
Portland and watch Chevrolet
hmm
rally down. Gosh, what were they down? 20? Were they down 20
18.
in
It
that
was like
game?
18. Yeah, almost 20.
That was something. And then Portland, I don't know what Joe Russo put in their water when the tournament started, but
Joe Russo special. That's the Joe Russo special, my friend. I've seen it plenty of times the past 3 years. And the guys I've worked with who have been around a lot longer in Southern Maine than I have will tell you, be like, hey, that's Joe Russo, man. He finds a
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. Someone asked me at the expo, they're like, "How long has Russo been coaching Portland?" I was like, "I don't know, since they incorporated the city, like, like a long time, man. Probably
think it's
my
been
whole life."
at least 40 years.
Yeah, jeez.
I think at least 40 years. I might be off a little bit, but I want to say it's not under 35. I'll tell you that. I think it's between
Yeah,
35 and 40.
jeez. All right, so then D, what do we got in D? North Yarmouth, Buckfield, Penobscot Valley, Katahdin. Boy, there's some travel in there. Stearns, Bangor Christian, Vinyl Haven. If you want to talk about a team that has to travel, Vinyl Haven,
There was one I feel like
Machias
there
is
was
in there.
one school I covered, or I think it might have been, was it Buckfield? It might have been Buckfield that that came to Old Orchard. I did that game a week or two ago. Yeah, Buckfield actually went out to Vinyl Haven for the season opener and won 6-5
Ooh, that'd be a
on
fun game to go to
Thursday.
too. A good
Yeah.
place to go.
Yeah, have you ever? I don't know how closely you look into some of these start times for like these teams that for some of these island teams, but
Mm-hmm.
they're crazy. Like
They started
11
like 10
a.m.,
a.m.
12.
Yeah,
Yeah, 11 a.m., 12:30, 11:30, like on weekdays. Like
they
it's
got to make the ferry,
fantastic.
man.
Yeah, It's great. And then you see, listen to the start time right here. Vinyl Haven went to Greenville for an eight on a Saturday for an 8:30 a.m. first pitch.
So they went the night before,
Yep.
and yeah,
Like I tell you what, like I feel like I remember when I was, of course, of course, I was in high school when Vinyl Haven girls went to won the 17 state title. I think
yeah,
they won it in 17, they lost it in 18. But
that
now
sounds right.
I remember just hearing about that. I remember hearing about that great, just how cool of a story that was, see an island team win a state championship like that. And I'm just like, I've experienced some cool things at George Stevens, but that is a whole new level of experiences having to go back and having to travel on a ferry for 80 to 85% of your games.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is just like those are type of stories. Like I mean, obviously everybody's gonna have like really cool stories to tell throughout the years, but I don't know if anything would ever top stories from some of these island teams, just from all the traveling that they do, and they travel to some pretty remote places.
Yeah,
Like obviously Vinyl Haven and Forest Hills. I know a lot of times they try to meet in the middle somewhere, but
even the
there's a
middle
lot of
is.
yeah. Even a meeting in the middle, you're still talking 2.5 plus hours.
Have you taken that
So
ferry before? The Vinyl Haven ferry?
I have not taken the Vinyl Haven ferry. However,
It's not short.
I no. However, I did go out with my brother's lobster boat from Stonington to North Haven
Okay, same difference.
last September, and that was I think of course I think Stonington to Vinyl Haven is a little bit closer. I don't think the bay is as wide on the that's on the east side of the bay. I don't think it's as
Mm-hmm.
wide, but that was like a 35, 40 minute ride one way on his
Yeah,
lobster boat now, which is moving faster than a ferry. So add a few
I
minutes
think
for a ferry.
the ferry's like an hour from Rockland.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So then you're got an hour to get on the ferry, and then and you got to get to the ferry. You got an hour for the ferry, and then you got to go like an hour or so because I think their closest team is Wiscasset. Their closest opponent is probably Wiscasset, someone like that.
Yeah, yeah, Wiscasset.
And that's I mean that's not even short from Rockland. That's what 45 minutes, something like that,
Roughly, yeah.
down Route One, depending on how much Wiscasset traffic you have to sit through to get there.
Yeah, but I've heard stories as well that like you'll have a either Vinyl Haven traveling out there or them or a team traveling out there. Um, I'm assume I would think they would still do this, but like they show up for a Friday. I think either like a Friday. They show up on a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
play a game Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
spend the night in the gym,
Yep.
and then wake up, play a game Saturday, and then head back Saturday afternoon. Like
Yeah.
that's like where else are you gonna get that type of experience?
Well, you
Having
got time to
them
get
playing and
shots up. If you're sleeping in the
yeah,
gym, there's no excuse for not practicing a little extra. Get a few
yeah,
extra shots up, work on your free throws.
yeah. Can't sleep. I'm gonna shoot 20 free throws.
Yeah, yeah. You don't you guys aren't tired. We're gonna run some suicides until you're tired. That's for
Yeah,
sure. We can't call them that
absolutely.
anymore.
Absolutely not. Hey, we got time. We got a whole gym to ourselves for the night. Let's get some midnight madness practice going on
There you
here.
go. I love it. All right, let's look at baseball. I'm gonna start at D here. Bangor Christian and Richmond look like the two teams to beat. In you haven't seen
Oh,
have you seen any of these? Who have you
not in
seen
the
in
north.
D?
Not let's see. D it'd have to be D South. Let me bring up D South
Telstar?
real quick.
Have you seen
I've
Telstar?
heard. I have not seen Telstar. Old Orchard surprisingly did not play Telstar this year.
Okay.
They did play Buckfield, and Old Orchard beat Buckfield pretty handedly. But Richmond, and another thing I'm surprised they didn't play Richmond this year. Richmond the past couple of years has also been on their schedule, so
Hmm.
it's weird. So Old Orchard opted for three B schools instead of Richmond and Telstar, I assume,
Okay.
because they played Wells, York, and then they play Freiburg this week. So they opted for some B schools instead of these D schools. But usually they play Richmond. They did play Buckfield. They used to play Telstar. But they did play Madison. I see Madison. They did play Madison. They swept them. Um, but
Madison is
Richmond
like,
from
I gotta check
is oh
Madison. It says they're 2-10, but it has them like ranked pretty high. I gotta figure out what's going on there. If that's just, they might have just have like a couple really good results that are boosting them up.
they they
Did they
only
beat
lost.
Mountain
I don't know.
Valley? Did they actually win that game? Or did I might have flipped. Here's what I'm wondering if I flipped a score. Is what I'm wondering.
No, from here they did beat Mountain Valley,
Okay.
13-1
Are you on the
somehow.
MK side or are you just looking at my site?
I am on the MPA site.
Oh,
This is what
okay.
I got.
Oh, all right. Cool. That's the thing
Yep,
about like
20.
both heels and the rankings is if you have one really good game, all of a sudden you get that boost up because you're what's the thing that used to in baseball? Oh, what was that book? It was like some fantasy baseball book, Ron Chandler's book. I don't know if you ever read that, where he would say like if a player throw out steroids, but if a player has had like a great season, then that season is still there. It's still in that player, even if it's an outlier of a season, you know. And if you had a season where you hit 20 home runs out of nowhere and you weren't juicing, that 20 home run season could come back. But also could the season come back where you hit a buck 80 and hit 3 home runs and
Kind of like
we're
kind of
Walt
like what
Weissing it up.
Cal Raleigh's going through right now. Had a great season last year, and it's kind of been slow going for him to
Is he?
start.
No. See, I haven't been paying that
Yeah,
much attention. Is he basically hitting like the Red Sox are hitting?
pretty much. Do you remember the Chris Davis Orioles situation from however many years ago now it was?
Yeah, he hit like 50
It
homers or
was
something.
Yeah, yeah, they gave him a big extension, and then he didn't do anything the rest of his career. Yeah, right now Cal Raleigh batting a buck 61, seven
Oh my
home
gosh.
runs, 18 RBI, 26 hits.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah, not great.
See, I used to do fantasy baseball, and so I knew all of this stuff, and then I stopped doing fantasy baseball, and I know none of it.
Yeah, it's yeah, not great for Cal Raleigh right now, which sucks because last year was to have a catcher put on the season that he did last
Yeah.
year was awesome. So hopefully he picks it
Did
up
he
a little
sign
bit.
an extension? Did he
He
get
did, he
paid?
did, yeah,
Okay,
he
good for
did
him.
get paid.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
my
he did
money.
get
What do
paid.
I care? We look at C, Washington Academy 12-0, Monmouth 10-1, Miranda 12-1, OOB sitting there at 9-2. I had someone giving me grief online because I have not seen all these teams. And I'm like, my dude, you have not seen Washington Academy in person, I promise you. Because you have not seen both Washington Academy and Old Orchard Beach live. I'm quite sure.
No,
So
absolutely not.
maybe we can look at the computer a little bit because the computer can process all of these.
Yeah, but first of all, just real quick side note, real quick. North Class C, George Stevens, my team, as you can see, repping
Yeah.
the S today.
Yeah.
For those watching on the video, you'll see this is my hat. This is my George Stevens baseball hat from my senior year of high school. This is the first time I've worn it in
It feels like a Seattle
about 8
Kraken hat
years.
or something like that. It's
It
got that kind
is
of
in a
vibe.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like the old English font. I think they changed it up now.
Yeah.
I really like this font, and we
It's
were talking
nice.
baseball today, so I thought I'd rock it, and it still fits just as well. And
I need some
GSA
hats.
baseball, they got a 7-win season going on right now, which is their best in. I want to say it's like their best this decade.
Wow.
Like it's been kind of a lull for GSA baseball this decade. Like I mean, they're going on 10 years. It's been 10 years since the last time they won a regional final, 2016, my sophomore year, and they went, and GSA used to always be in contending status. So to see them with 7 wins this year is really good to see.
It's because you
Now they
left.
have, now they have lost, Bucksport. Now Bucksport has proven they're a much better team. So is Washington Academy. They did
Hmm.
split with Mananocook, they did split with Mananocook, but so looks like WA is right up near the top again, and then you look at C South. It's looking like a three-horse race right now. I have not seen Miranda Cook, and I have not seen Monmouth, but no surprise that those two teams are near the top. I'd get to see Miranda Cook last year. They did. Miranda Cook came to Old Orchard last year, and they're a really good team.
Hmm.
And then Monmouth, obviously, Monmouth is on a run, is on like a 2 or 3, like a 3 or 4 year run of being near the top of C South for baseball. So no surprise there. And then Old Orchard, who as we've discussed earlier, I've seen a ton. And this
Are they
is,
playing those games? They're at the ballpark, right? They are playing at the
yep,
ballpark.
Yep, they are at the
Yes,
ballpark,
I
which is
got to
a
go to a
really
game just because I don't. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw a game at the ballpark, and I'm pretty sure it was a minor league baseball game. Was the
when the
last time I
guides are
was
still
there
there.
when the guides were still there. And I want to
Yep.
say my mother can correct me on this because she watches all of these. It might have been with my grandfather to see the guides, and he died in '87, something like that. So that might have been the last time I've been to a game there.
Yeah. So yeah, but they've done. That's a fantastic story that we could go on and on about. But we'll save that for another day. The history
Okay,
of the ballpark.
all right. I gotta
But
try to get to a game. How many games are left?
they got Trape. I can tell you, they got Trape at
Okay.
home on. That's on the second now. They get Freiburg on Thursday. They get a doubleheader with Mountain View this Saturday. And
Interesting.
I will be at that. I do have that double. I got all three of those home games on my schedule. I might have to pull the Freiburg one because I did sign up for Portland City Adult League kickball, which week
Sure,
2 is Thursday night.
sure.
So I might have to pull that one from the schedule, but I will be at the doubleheader on Saturday. And yeah, it's fantastic, fantastic ballpark. They've done a really good job
That Mount
bringing that
View,
back up.
boy, I bet I could talk myself. I might talk myself into that Mount View, at least half of that doubleheader, and then maybe I can get to a different game. Yeah, maybe. All right, I'm put a pin in that. Um, all right, let's bump over to B here real quick. Freiburg. Someone told me earlier this year that Freiburg was maybe the best team in the state. Um, they're 10-2. Ellsworth's 12-1. Cape 9-4. They just played to. That might include today's game. Does that include today's game? Did I enter it? Yeah, they beat Freeport 11-0 today. And then Levitt
See,
sitting there, Herman, Coney. There's some heavy hitters in B. In Yeah, all through B.
yeah, B South baseball is if you historically, I think B South baseball is usually one of the more competitive regions historically. I mean, you
Hmm.
have this year Freiburg, Cape Elizabeth is always in the Cape Elizabeth, Yarmouth, and Greeley seem like they're always in the conversation. Levitt,
Sure.
like their softball team, it looks to be sneaky good this year, and even Lake Region, it got 8 wins so far on the season. So it's and Freiburg, you talked about they might be the best team in the state this year. They played Oxford Hills and lost 3-2. And Oxford Hills, we'll get to them in a second,
Hmm.
but Oxford Hills is usually always in the conversation in A North. So just give you an idea and look at some of these results here. Yeah, they Freiburg has looked really really solid. I like this note right here. Somebody apparently Freiburg's head coach got ejected in the game against Wells
All right. Good for him.
on the according to these MPA notes, it says
They
head
put it in
coach
the
of
MPA
Freiburg
notes.
ejected. Yeah, somebody put it in the MPA notes. Head coach of Freiburg ejected
Is that if
on
you
Monday
put that
on the
in the
18th.
Okay, so here's my question for you. If that's in the notes, who do you think put that there?
It was a
And
it's,
do you think that's like a saltiness move? That's like an explanation for what happened? Do you think that's like I'm going to put this guy on notice or on blast, as the kids would say, for getting
uh,
ejected? Is this a pro or
according to
anti-ejection move?
according to this, it was a Wells home game, which tells me that that
That
Wells was the one who entered the score because
Okay,
I'm pretty sure home teams are supposed to enter the scores
in theory, yeah.
or report the score. In theory, they're supposed to report them. So, and Freiburg won the game 7-3. So, I
Okay.
think this might be a Wells just letting everybody know, be like, hey, their guy got ejected this game.
I'm a big fan of using the MPA results to send messages to the rest of the state.
That seems like a cut and paste example because I don't know, I've never seen anywhere else a note of a coach getting ejected
I think I've seen that in
except for this one right
basketball.
here.
I think I've seen that in somewhere in basketball. Like refs were terrible.
Yeah,
So
we had four techs in this game, or something like
yeah,
that.
free throws were 25-5. Just saying.
And then real quick on B North, no surprise to see Ellsworth back near the top. I mean, they've had a great. I mean, the last decade or so, they've had a great talent come through. Dan
Hmm.
Curtis does a fantastic job. Has done a fantastic job with that program. He's got there's another surprise. There's another Curtis boy who's one of their top pitchers. This time is Dawson Curtis. He's going to Hudson for baseball, the following the footsteps of his first older brother Jackson, and then his and Hunter Curtis.
That
I'm
sounds
gonna
right.
be that's I think it's Hunter Curtis. I apologize. I should be getting that. I shouldn't get that wrong. And if I am, I'm really sorry. But he's having a really good career up at Hudson as well. So Dawson going to follow right in his footsteps, and then Jackson Berry, who's another one of their top pitchers on that team. I've known Jackson a long time, and always great to it's great to see him. It's great to see him and that team have another great season. So no surprise to see Ellsworth near the top. Herman right in the mix as well, and then Coney sitting right there, 10-2. Coney, again, kind
I
of
wouldn't want to
similar
play
to the.
Coney.
Now, I would not want to play Coney either. You have Coney. Is this their first year in B for baseball, or were they B in baseball last year too?
That's a good question. Are we in the second
I
year of a cycle?
I think this is the first year of this new
Is this the
cycle.
first year of the cycle?
This is the first year of this new cycle.
All the cycles should be on the same year. I'm just throwing
Yeah,
that out there. I don't know why we're doing different
yeah,
years for different cycles. Like, what are we doing?
yeah.
But anyway,
But 10-2, and they've got their losses are to Levitt, who we talked about. There's Levitt's looking pretty good, and Monmouth, who's right
those are
now is
legit
who's
losses.
top
Yeah,
three in C South. Yeah, those are some quality losses. If we want to talk about like
and they were
if we
back to
were
back
it's
losses.
yeah.
So who
So there
knows?
could so back to back losses. Pitching becomes a little bit of a talk about right there. Maybe some guys were maybe they throw the 3 and 4 guys in the rotation that game. Maybe they don't throw their top 1 or 2 guys those days. You never
Hmm.
know. So regardless, quality losses on their end for Coney. And again, kind of scheduling's a big thing. Like Ellsworth, they play that PVC schedule, the Foxcrofts, the Vaps, Herman, Old Town, Bucksport, MDI, where in Caribou and Presque Isle, where on the other end, Coney plays your KVAC schedule. So
Hmm.
it's one of those instances where if those two teams happen to meet, and if Coney finishes in a 4 spot and plays Ellsworth in a semi, it could be a very seeing a 4 beat a 1 in that instance wouldn't be at all shocking. But then
Right.
again, if Coney keeps winning, they could jump up to that too, and that'd be a hypothetical regional final. That's a hypothetical regional final matchup. So it's regardless.
You know what I could do is I could
Coney,
pull up the gold ball odds and tell you if they could do that because we have that now for baseball.
that's right. We got everything for baseball.
Coney is favored to be the 1 seed. They are 90-ish, 80. Let's say 85% to go top 2. Ellsworth is favored to be the 2 seed right now. Belfast the 3, Old Town the 4, and then Herman 5. So that's the order currently for the tourney odds.
Geez, that'd be a lot of. Of course, we do have. There's still quite a few games left, and that'd be a lot of shuffling for where they
Yeah, I wonder
stand right
why
now.
that
Which
is.
which heel points. No surprise there.
Right.
Like Ellsworth has a really big lead for the top spot right now.
Huh.
So
Well, now
that's
you've got me rethinking it.
so I don't know.
Let me
I
bring
don't
up
know.
Coney's
Again, lot
schedule.
lot lot can happen in a week and a half,
They've got
if
Mesalonsky.
that.
Mesalonsky's probably worth a lot of points.
That's right.
Mesalonsky and Lawrence might be worth some points. It could also be that Ellsworth is just out of points. You see that
Lawrence,
often in heel
yeah,
points.
Lawrence does have is a 9-win team so far, so that's a lot of points right there. I'm looking at Ellsworth,
They've got
Herman,
Herman
Old
and
Town, and
they've got
MDI left.
there's a lot of points
So
there.
yeah, there is.
So I mean, it's probably a thing where they control their own destiny. It's going well. They're 60-40 on all of them, so maybe they get 2,
Yeah,
maybe they get
in the
1.
event, maybe in the event that they don't, maybe they're thinking, worst case scenario, they lose 2 or 3 to end the season, and Coney wins out. I don't know, something
Yeah,
like
if
that.
Coney wins, I think if Coney wins out, they've got it locked up. But yeah, we'll see. I've also this is the new gold ball odds or tourney odds for this new system I'm using, and it's also very possible I did it wrong. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out, and then I'm sort of using the spring season as a stress test for the fall and the winter with
Hey,
this new
no,
website.
Nothing wrong. You got to test it out. You got to test it out with game action some way or form.
I mean, you used the live scoring app thing, and like I probably tested that 50 times, just sitting in my living room, messing with it and trying to break it, and got it to where it was working. And then the first live game I did broke it again, and it's been like 11 different attempts actually using it live to get it to actually work and not screw up in weird
Yeah,
ways.
yeah. It's worked out. That's worked out pretty well for me for the most part, except for I think I messaged you this when you asked me a couple days ago, like how have I
Uh huh.
liked it so far. I just didn't know how to like the first or second time I tried it. I didn't know how to input um to set it so the whoever was getting DH for
Mm.
would not be in the lineup. So
It's also
I did
possible I hadn't
Gorham.
added that yet.
Yeah, that could be too. Like I did it for Gorham and Deering baseball earlier this
Okay.
year, and the D, I they both batted a DH.
Mm-hmm.
No, Gorham batted a DH, and they didn't bat some. Gorham did not bat somebody. They had somebody in the field who was not batting,
Mm.
so they so they ended up. But I set it at that point, I was just I didn't play with it enough to figure out, okay, how do I set a DH for somebody but not have that person show up defensively but not in the batting order. I
Right.
didn't figure that out yet. So like the first two innings for Gorham were online, but once this person stepped up to, oh, I know what happened.
Okay.
I had it set to bat 10 people in the Gorham order. That's what happens. I
Aha.
had the
Okay.
I had the person who was not batting in the lineup as the 10 spot. So one
Yeah.
like the first nine through the order were fine, but then I was a person behind after that for Gorham. So that's
Yeah.
what ended up
I
happening.
did the same thing. And then I had like a pitcher. It was Madomic playing somebody in softball, and I had the pitcher hitting, and I'm like, oh, she's not hitting. Oh no, what do I do? And so what I was doing, my fix was I was doing a drop third strike, just to get her out of there, but not have an out. And then I would try to find ways to lose her on the base paths, which broke something else. But it was, and so then I'm like furiously writing notes in my notebook while I'm trying to do the score. I'm like, okay, I got to fix that. I got to do that. And but that's the only way to test these things is to do it live and
Yep.
get really like have the weird thing happen where you go, what is happening here? What do we do? Who's that? Or like the person steps into the batter's box and you're like, I don't have this person on the roster. I don't know who this is. What do I do
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. I had there was another instance where I didn't have I didn't put the sub I didn't have time to put the subs in.
Mm,
So I couldn't add them in the middle of I couldn't figure out how to add. I don't know if you're able to
you
add
are
people.
now.
You can. Okay, maybe I couldn't do it then, but I only had the first nine in the order. So
Hmm.
then there was a couple of pinch hitters, and I'm like they're not I don't know how to put them in. I'm
Yeah.
screwed.
You know what's fun now is I found is fun, and there's probably no fix for this. Is they do a defensive sub and you don't hear what it is, and you're like, who is that in right field? What is that? What's happening in right field? I don't. That looks like a different person. I can't read that uniform number. There's some. Okay, so I think my approach now is not worry about the defensive substitutions until they're pinch hitting for somebody,
Yep.
and then be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's a pinch hitter. Let's do this now.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I'm doing a Class C game, I have that issue too because they don't announce them.
Yeah,
If I'm at Shepherd's or Deering,
they'll
it's
announce it.
great. Or Gorham, they'll announce it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. But but like Class C game, like the C games, nah, not happening. Not until the postseason.
One thing that is nice about this system, that's one reason I'm trying this and trying to build it, is you can use a CSV import of the entire roster. So for basketball, for the live stats, what I had to do the last couple years is manually type in every single player in the tournament,
Ooh, ooh,
and which is interesting for stretches, not long stretches, but you notice weird things that like a Wyndham player was on like six different rosters for some reason, and like it was Boston Cranes or something, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's the only one of those in the state, and he's on like a girls roster over here, and I'm like, what is going on? And then it is funny to see some numbers, but this one nice thing about this is you can just batch import rosters really quickly. So that's going to come in really handy for basketball season.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that out for. I'm looking forward to trying that out for basketball.
I might
And
make
I
one
know
for
you.
football too.
Yes, that would be the big one for football because we've talked about trying to bring in a stats person for our state championship coverage
I
the
did it
past
for
couple of
Rob
years.
for the
Yeah, uh,
yeah.
yeah. I'd really like to have that option for when we do 8 man. I don't know where 8 man states are going to be this year. If they're going to be a
Ooh, yeah. I'd
South
have to
regional
do.
or North. They've been my responsibility the last two falls.
Yeah.
My responsibility, as in 24, they were in Kennebunk. Last year they were Edward Little, which
Hmm.
depending on who you ask, Auburn kind of more
Yeah.
often than not, Auburn does fall under me. Um,
That's your
like that's
that's your area.
that's in my jurisdiction, but
Steve
not
has to
really.
come to
It's
you for Auburn. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
for the beauty also of this system is the thing we use for live stats for basketball. It wouldn't export data. And so this is a thing Fred and I have talked about forever to try to do. And so this will export data into what WHO uses to broadcast. So you'll know Nolan Ames's rebounds, not him, but you would know that live. It would just bring it in automatically. So if we
yeah,
could get that for football,
that would be fantastic. That would be that would be great. We'd love
right?
to. But there's a lot of things that we could do with that to make because I'm always thinking of ways. I'm always thinking of ways. How can we make our tournament coverage better?
Right.
And I'm always like every year I'm thinking about that. Man, I'd really like to do this. Man, I'd really like to do that. Like there's a lot of things I would love. Like if I had unlimited money and unlimited resources,
Mm-hmm.
our HOU tournament coverage would be fantastic. Like
Yeah.
it would be like we'd be running. It would be on par with main publics.
You'd have 3 or 4 cameras running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be on par with main publics. Like if I had the money, if I had the resources, if I had the people, that's where it would be at. Unfortunately that's not the reality, and more often than not, just trying to find enough people to work with what we have can
Okay.
be a chore.
So I saw this today because I'm always looking for stuff for the newsletter. A Major League Soccer game, they did a broadcast. Apple TV did a broadcast with iPhones where they had, and it looked like what they were doing. And I think they did this literally today or yesterday with the first one. It looked like what they were doing is just mounting, like they mounted an iPhone inside the goal and a couple other places. So they don't have to and then like, I don't know if they manned it or it's like on a remote, but that's the sort of thing where if that seems like definitely a Fred project to tinker with that. But if you could get 3 or 4 iPhones mounted in spots, like mounted underneath at the goalpost or something, or underneath the basket support or whatever, that's maybe something.
Mm,
That's interesting.
that's true. Yeah, it is
I haven't
interesting.
watched the footage of the actual game yet, but it could be something.
That
iPhones are
could
not
certainly
that
be.
expensive.
No, I feel like iPhones are a diamond. I mean, they're no. I mean, they're
A
cheaper than the
DSLR.
cameras that we. Yeah, they're cheaper than
Yeah.
the cameras that we run.
That's
Like
what I'm
that
using
Sony
for a
camera.
webcam
Yeah,
right now is my iPhone.
yeah, like those. Yeah, iPhones are cheaper than those cameras nowadays. So that's honestly
It's
not a
interesting,
bad.
right?
Yeah, it's certainly that is interesting. You have piqued my interest, my friend.
And the new ones you can record directly to a hard drive, an external hard drive. I think the 17s will do that. And so, which is a thing, because I'm always looking at it for like independent film stuff, and always like interesting that you could just shoot a whole thing. But if you can record directly to like a 2 terabyte drive, then and like record for that, you would record in RAW, but you wouldn't want to do RAW for a broadcast.
Right.
Um, let's finish up with Class A real quick because we got sidetracked. We were going to talk about Oxford Hills, obviously. You got Gorham, Bangor, Mount Ararat, who I've actually seen Mount Ararat. They were, who did I see them beat? Yarmouth at Bowdoin. South Portland, which a lot of people are saying South Portland's the best team in the state, They're 11-1. TA, Scarborough, Chevrolet. There's some real heavy hitters there.
real, real quick note on Chevrolet because I just think this is funny. Like, so obviously there was some uproar like their second or
The
third game of
38
the
to
season.
1 game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they beat Westbrook 38-1. Now I've seen Chevrolet in person a few times. I saw Westbrook in person once when they played Deering, and unfortunately, in the game of baseball and softball, there's no clock to run down. There's you
You got
have
to
to
hit.
you have to yeah you got to throw the ball still. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, and unfortunately for Westbrook, their roster's not that big. They're going through a lot of growing pains as a program right now. Excuse me.
But they got that football state title, so
Yeah,
they're not sweating it
they
too
did. Yeah,
much.
right. They're not sweating it too much. No, they won that title. It's great. And then you go up with these, and I love how there's a lot of people that are just like, well, let's send Chevrolet deserves to be in their own. Which, when every time they win something big, you're always going to have that conversation.
Yeah.
But historically, Chevrolet has not been historically the past several seasons. Chevrolet has not been that good of a baseball team. And then what I find funny is here they are, one of the top teams in A South this year, 12-1. Their only loss is to Gorham,
Mm-hmm.
and they've looked really good this year. They're under now. They've won, I think, combined 6 games the last 2 years. They missed the play. They haven't been
Wow.
in the playoffs since 2023. They won 8 or 9 games that year, but they last 2 years have not been good for them. Um, Tony Tobias stepped down after last year, head coach. They got a new coach, Ryan Kopp, who's a younger coach, has come in there and just completely changed everything. Like, they're
Mm-hmm.
12-1, and they look like it. They certainly look like a contender. Which joins. So they're, and I guess when you talk about historic contenders,
Yep.
they join like South Portland. No surprise, they've been up in the mix this entire decade so far. They've won a couple state titles. Thornton Academy, they won it in 22, I think. And then Gorham has been in the mix for, Gorham's the team has been in the mix. Now this is their best season they've had in quite some time, 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
And I look down the rest of it. Scarborough, I've heard a lot about Scarborough recently. They're starting to turn things around from where they started. Massabesic is a sneak. I think Massabesic is a good sleeper to have. So
Really
again, like A South, there's probably 6 teams in A South that could make noise.
interesting.
That could certainly make noise come playoff time. But obviously, I think your favorites South. I haven't seen South Portland play.
Mm-hmm.
Do they?
Bringing them up.
They play. They have a lot
They've
of home
got
games.
Chevrolet on the 27th.
Yes, and they
And they've
play.
got TA.
Yeah, so they have a lot of Chevrolet. Yeah, both Chevrolet and South Portland have pretty tough schedules to finish it out. Falmouth's sitting right now number 8, 7-5. That's another team that you can never really count out, Falmouth. So,
Yeah.
like, A South in a way I think is wide open. Not quite as wide open as it was in basketball this winter, but I
Oh,
think
geez, right?
still there's, I would say, like, for A South basketball, all 8 teams that made it to the Expo had a case for winning the gold ball
Mm-hmm.
in some shape or form.
Yep.
I would say here you probably got 5 teams that have a decent shot.
And then because it's baseball, probably add another 2 who could just
Yeah,
get hot.
add another 2 that could get hot at the right time. So that's so yeah, I see these standings changing quite a bit. I know South Portland just played. Yeah, they just played that marathon with Scarborough Saturday morning. 6 to
Yep.
1 was the final, but in 10 innings they scored.
They scored 5
No,
in the 10th.
they scored 5 in the 10th to beat Scarborough.
Well, the gold
Which
ball odds have South Portland and Gorham as a coin flip to get the 1.
now
Because Gorham doesn't
they
have a lot of points left. Their schedule gets a lot easier down the stretch.
They just played this last Tuesday. Gorham won 2-1 in a pitcher's duel at home against South Portland. So that was a big keel point win for Gorham right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be hearing
What do the heel points look like?
Right now Gorham has a pretty good sized lead in A South. I expect that gap to close because, as you just mentioned, not a whole lot of points left compared
And
to
Chevrolet has some points
South
left.
Portland. Yeah, compared to Chevrolet and South Portland, who do. So I expect that gap to close up within the next, by the time they're finalized next. When's the regular season end? Next Tuesday, Wednesday,
June
something like
3rd.
that. Third, so
I
next
know I
Wednesday.
know
Yeah,
that it's June 3rd because June 4th is my birthday, and so I'm like, oh well, look at that.
perfect.
Turner Classic Movies is coming to Rockland on my birthday, so that's where I will be.
All
And if
right.
if there's like weather and they have to push to the next day, I ain't gonna be there for that. I'm gonna be at Turner Classic Movies at the Strand.
um, I'm gonna touch on A North real quick.
Okay.
Again, I haven't seen any of these teams, but Bangor, no surprise. Bangor's been like one of the most consistent baseball programs in the state, like the last decade. Like
Mm-hmm.
they went on a run of winning like 5 straight state championships when I was in high school. So, and then they cooled off a little bit as every program does,
Yep.
except for Scout League and field hockey.
Right.
Um,
Well, even then, they
yeah,
didn't
even then,
that streak got snapped.
yeah, yeah, the Brewer. So, but Oxford Hills again, that's another like it's been Bangor and Oxford Hills have been consistently the top two teams in
Mm-hmm.
A North for it seems like forever. And that is nice to see Mount Ararat hasn't fallen off all that much because they lost to Biddeford in they represented the North in the state game last year. They lost to Biddeford by a run, I think. It was a close game.
Oh, cool.
So Mount Ararat right back in the mix. So I'd say those three teams right there have the most realistic, I would say the most realistic path to a deep run, but Messalonskee you can never count out. Edward Little you can never count out, and then Hamden Academy's got 9 wins as well. So
Right.
like, that's again A North. Anything can happen. It has happened before. Um, but Bangor, Oxford Hills, Mount Ararat is who I'm really liking in A North right now.
Cool. All right. Well, look at that. We're at an hour 20. Um. So let's wrap this up. Where can people find you other than WHOU? Do you have anything else where people can find you?
I guess in a way that's about the
I
best
mean,
place to
you're
find me. I
the
do want
voice of
I do
WHOU South,
Yeah, I
and
do. I do want to give a shout out right here. You'll see I got a Sanford Raiders baseball hoodie on. That's my summer gig
okay.
for going on. This will be my 5th summer with that
What
organization. They're out
level
of
is
the.
that? Is that
They
semi-pro?
are New England. So they're the New England College Summer Baseball League, which
Okay.
is summer college summer baseball.
Okay.
I have been the broadcast director going
Oh.
in my 3rd summer, which means I do all. I'm basically their equivalent to what Nick Godfrey does for Maine
Okay.
Public. That's what I do for the Mainers. We do a 4 camera setup. We got games on ESPN Plus,
Oh.
and then we've been. Last year we had games on ESPN Plus, Amazon Prime, and a few other places that I've never heard of before. Yeah, that's I'm not on camera or on the microphone, but I am behind the
Okay.
scenes, and it's a really fun thing. And Mainers play their games at Goodall Park. Um, you should get out to a game this summer, sir.
I
It's a
like.
really good
Hey,
time.
why not?
Yep. I don't know if you've ever been to Goodall Park
I
before,
have
but it's a
no idea
beautiful
where that is.
place. It's right downtown Sanford.
Okay.
It's the crown jewel of the city of Sanford. That's what
Okay.
I've heard. It's what I've heard a lot of people describe it as.
All
So
right.
that's my summer gig. You can find me there. Anytime the Mainers are at home, you can find me there. We're also hosting the league All Star game this year. This is the which is the last Sun. I think either the last or the second to last Sunday in July.
How wide of a range are the teams you guys are playing, like geographically? How far out? How
So
far out?
it's a 13 team league. There's teams as far south as Connecticut.
Okay.
There's 3 teams in Connecticut. Danbury, I guess technically Danbury, Connecticut is the furthest team away from
Just
Sanford.
basically New York City.
Yeah, Sanford is the northernmost team. But there's 2 teams in Vermont. I think Massachusetts has 3, Connecticut has 3, Rhode Island has 2, and Vermont's got 1. And then obviously
Okay.
the only team in Maine is Sanford. So it's a really fun league. The baseball is really fun to watch, and the vibes at Goodall don't get much better than sunny summer nights at Goodall Park for some
Hey,
Mariners baseball. It's a great time.
nice, nice. All right, so we'll find you there. Find you on WHOU, of course, all the way through the state games. Ethan Snow, thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
All right, that's the show. Thanks again to Ethan. Always fun talking to him, and I really do think I might go down to OOB for that Mount View doubleheader at the ballpark because I don't think I've been to the ballpark in a very, very, very long time. And then maybe I can, maybe we can, maybe the skee ball's open. We'll find out. Let's wrap it up. This has been a production of MaineBasketballRankings.com, your source for the most comprehensive coverage of Maine high school basketball from Ashland to York and everywhere in between. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts and a bunch of places you don't. If you enjoy this, please leave a nice review because it really does help out with algorithms. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thanks for watching.